I'm feeling low down.
Congratulations.
Is anyone going with you?
Playing solo.
When the sun goes down.
Reality's not always in sync with that.
And I love watching you thrive as you take the reins of this company.
The former most eligible bachelor Eric Gunderson is engaged to his business partner Adriana. As the wedding approaches, Eric starts spending time with Hope Mays, their dance instructor. While there is obvious chemistry between Hope and Eric, it is not clear if they will get their happy ending. After the wedding ceremony, Hope calmly reassures the bride that she will not fall on her face during their first dance. She tells her to go find her husband. As the bride and groom beautifully glide across the dance floor, Hope is proud of mentoring another successful couple on their special day. Hope is teaching young girls a choreography for a wedding due in a few weeks as their parents watch thrilled and mesmerized. As the girls end their set with a curtsy, Hope tells them to keep practicing. Sophia, the owner of the dance studio Hope is working at, congratulates Hope on the amazing job she is doing there. She tells Hope how she is happy she is leaving her studio in good hands. Hope reminds Sophia how her loan for buying the studio has not been approved yet. Sophia assures her that everything will work out. Hope's friend Cassidy comes and hands her a ticket to the opening of the play Love in Campbell Park. Hope is thrilled she will get to watch Cassidy perform on Broadway, and Cassidy tells her how surreal everything feels. Cassidy then goes for the rehearsal and assures Hope she will put her on the list. Hope meets her mom and talks about Cassidy. Her mom discusses how that was also Hope's dream once. Hope tells her how hard it was to work so hard and get nowhere, so she is on a new path. Her mom observes how Hope has had to make some hard decisions in the past year. She asks if Hope has heard from Peter, her ex-fiancé, and Hope tells her how he was perfect on paper but their reality was very different. Hope is scrolling through the newspaper when she finds news about the former most eligible bachelor, Eric Gunderson, getting engaged. Eric applauds with the others after the play is over and heads out. He bumps into Hope and she leaves in a hurry. Hope then tries to get entry backstage when the guard tells her that her name is not on the list. Eric then comes next to her and tells the guard he is not on the list, but just needs to go backstage to talk to the writer. Hope stops him from going in and tells the guard that she should also be allowed if he was allowing Eric to go in. When Hope asks Eric if he thinks his time is more valuable than hers, he tells her he is late and needs to get to his fiancée. Hope then tells the guard that she wants to speak to Cassidy, and then both she and Eric can go inside. Hope congratulations Cassidy on her first show. Cassidy wants to introduce Hope to Vanessa Curson, the choreographer of the show, who is looking for an assistant for an upcoming show. She tells Hope how their styles are very similar. Hope expresses how she knows this will also end in disappointment, so she wants to stick to her dance studio. Cassidy insists there is no harm in submitting her resume and calls Vanessa. She introduces Hope as a talented choreographer and points out how Hope also studied under Vanessa's mentor. This interests Vanessa, and when she finds out how much her mentor liked Hope, she asks Hope to submit her resume. Cassidy tells Hope their friendship is over if she does not submit the resume. Cassidy then spots Eric and comments on how good-looking he is. Hope tells her how entitled he is, and engaged. Established business partners Howard and Mac announce how they are retiring, and their children Eric and Adriana are taking over. They explain how their fathers founded the investment brokerage 80 years ago, and with Eric and Adriana's engagement, they are establishing the perfect marriage. They also announce how Gavin will continue as chief operating officer, and invite everyone to the wedding, which they claim will be lavish. Eric is working when his mom, Leona, enters with a huge pile of plans and clippings. She informs Eric that they do not have much time before the June wedding. Eric insists that he and Adriana are in the middle of taking over the company, so they need to focus on that. She insists that they need to plan soon and tells him about the wedding planner Dinny. Hope tells Cassidy how she will mentor a new wedding couple. Eric and Adriana's mothers are thrilled to have Dinny on board as the wedding planner. Their mothers assure them how important the wedding is for the business and the Gunderson and Grimes families. Adriana tells them she and Eric need to head for a conference call. Eric's mom then asks if he remembers his high school cotillion and does not want to repeat that. Eric agrees he wants to avoid that at all costs, and Dinny informs them she has signed them up with a wonderful teacher for dance lessons the next day. At her studio Danceatopia, Hope is finishing her class when Adriana comes in and introduces herself. She tells her how her fiancé is running late, and Hope tells her to get comfortable. Adriana informs her that she is a good dancer but her fiancé is rhythmically challenged. Hope assures her she knows how to work around that. Adriana informs her how their mothers want performance-level quality from them and a waltz, and Hope confirms she can set them up for it. Eric then walks in apologizing for getting late and notices Hope. Hope tells Adriana they have met, and Eric instantly apologizes for being rude that night. Hope tells them they should start practicing. Adriana dances with Eric, and when Eric is unable to follow Hope's basic instructions, he gets frustrated. Hope assures them she has had more challenging clients, and with 3 lessons in a week, she can help them achieve their target. Adriana looks worried and tells Hope how it is a very busy time for their company. Eric tells Adriana how he does not want to embarrass himself in front of 400 people. Adriana suggests that Eric can come along for the classes since he needs them more and she can cover for him at work. Eric agrees to come alone for a while. The next morning, Hope is mentoring a couple as Eric comes in and watches them perform. Eric asks if she can make him as good as what he just saw, and she tells him she will try her best. She is impressed Eric turned up on time and tells Eric how she is only upset when people don't value her time. Eric then apologizes again for that night and tells her how he does not usually behave like that. He explains how the play blew him away so much that he just needed to meet the writer. He tells her how he just invested in the play as a favor, but it was the best experience of his life. Hope is surprised since she took him for a Wall Street finance numbers guy. Eric tells her he is good with physical activity, but just struggles with rhythm. Hope assures him she can help and they start dancing. Hope guides him through the process and tells him to relax more. When he remains stiff, she acknowledges how she will have to think outside the box to help him. Hope meets someone to go over the process of sanctioning her a loan for buying the dance studio. Meanwhile, Gavin, Adriana, and Eric are discussing work when Eric gets a message from Carlos, the writer of the play. Eric tells Gavin how Adriana did not want to go watch the best play with him, and Adriana tells them how she just prefers to read more about business every day. She teases Gavin about probably also doing the same thing. They are interrupted by the wedding planner bringing huge centerpieces, which startles Eric. He inadvertently calls the flowers a giant monstrosity, and his mom gets offended and asks him to take care of the flowers himself. Eric tries to protest, but it is decided. Meanwhile, Adriana's mother suggests Gavin should make a reservation for them for their rehearsal dinner, and Adriana scolds her for making Gavin do wedding work. He tells them he is happy to help. Hope calls Eric and reminds him how she suggested she needs to think outside the box to help him. He agrees and she asks if he and Adriana can meet her on the weekend. He tells her how Adriana is going to Los Angeles, but he can make it. Hope is satisfied since she feels Eric needs more help. Eric dresses up for the wedding in a tuxedo and Hope is impressed he followed her instructions. She then takes him to the wedding of the same couple Eric saw dancing and tells him to observe everyone in the crowd while the couple dances. She makes him understand how no one cares how the performance is, and they are all just pleased to be there for the bride and groom to celebrate their love. She tells him how he also has to let go of that fear of people watching him. Eric is enjoying cake when Hope tells him it is time for their lesson. Eric tells her he is researching because he is stuck with choosing flowers for his wedding. Hope suggests he can hire a good florist so they can give him something based on his preference. She tells him she knows the perfect person who can help him out. She then tells him to join her on the dance floor and focus on getting comfortable with the floor rather than focusing on the steps. Eric nervously informs her how scared he is of the dance floor. Hope then asks him what exactly happened at his cotillion. He tells her how he was dancing with a beautiful girl and wanted to impress her with his moves, but ended up making them fall over the edge. He tells her how she broke her nose and he sprained his ankle. He explains how because of that, his dad lost an important client and he cannot go through the humiliation again. Hope assures him that the couple he just saw was also in bad shape when they came to her, so she can manage to help him. Eric asks if she only does wedding choreography. She tells him how she also did regional theater and Eric wants to know why she left it since she is very talented. Eric and Adriana have come for rehearsal and Hope tells her how much he has improved and is comfortable with the dance floor. Adriana asks if Hope will be there during their wedding and Hope assures them she will. Right then, their mothers come in with a photographer from the Times for the feature about the wedding. Hope reminds Eric of what she taught him about people watching, but he gets distracted when his mother urges the photographer to take some fancy poses of them. They ask Hope if Eric will be ready by the wedding, based on his awkwardness. Eric tries to do the dip with Adriana but fails miserably, upsetting all of them. Cassidy asks Hope about Eric, and she says he is the opposite of an entitled jerk. Cassidy talks about her gigs and asks Hope if she submitted her resume. Hope tells her that the opportunity is great but she is not sure she is ready to move to London yet. Meanwhile, Adriana gives Eric work updates and he notices how excited she is about the business. Eric tells her he still feels they are not doing anything meaningful, while Adriana informs him how they are transforming financial portfolios. Eric insists he wants to be a part of something transformative. Sophia wants to discuss payroll information of the studio with Hope for a smooth transition, and asks her about the status of the loan. Sophia tells her how someone else is also interested in buying the studio, but she wants Hope to have it. Hope asks if Sophia can hold the other buyers off a bit till she figures things out. Eric thanks Hope for helping him with the florist and she tells him that it is still wedding related, so she is happy to help. She also informs him that she will start teaching him the actual steps the next day. Hope shows Eric a book with all the options when Lulu the cat walks over his book. Eric asks Lulu to help him out with the flowers. Hope tells him to notice how lovingly his arms are holding Lulu, and this is how he should hold his bride for the dance. Hope tells him she hired the florist for her wedding but had to cancel it a few weeks before the date. Hope then tells Eric about the possible job she has in London and how she can just submit her resume, but is scared of rejection. Eric encourages her to do it and tells her how they are in a similar boat. He explains how Carlos has a new play he wants Eric to produce, but he doesn't have time with their family business. They both then decide that Hope will send her resume and Eric will talk to Carlos and see where it takes them. Hope sends her resume at night. The next day, while teaching Eric the steps, she gets a call from Vanessa. Hope gets excited as Vanessa asks her to put together an audition piece for her. Eric asks how she feels about it and she explains to him how a year ago, she almost had the chance to train the best dancers, but she never got it. She tells him she is tired of hearing she is talented but never actually getting accepted for anything. Eric insists that this feels like a second chance since he too had to once study theater and finance, and because of his family pressure, finance won. He also tells her that after reading Carlos' play, he knew he had to be a part of it. When Hope asks what is stopping him, he tells her how Adriana is very excited about taking over the business, but he feels very conflicted since he wants to do a lot more. Hope insists that he needs to pick a side. Hope and Eric meet for another lesson at Central Park and Eric is confused about where they will dance. Hope then takes him to a pond and tells him to take off his shoes and socks. Eric recounts all the unconventional ways Hope has made him learn and Hope insists it is time for him to let appearances go. They enter the pond with Eric's pants rolled up and Hope tells him to notice the flow of the water and how it is impossible to be rigid in it. She then tells him to learn to be the water. She tells him to dance to the steps in the water with her, and while Eric is conscious at first, he starts enjoying dancing like that even when people are watching. Adriana arrives at the studio and tells Hope how her dress is much bigger than she imagined. Hope suggests they can try it out to rehearse the steps in it. Adriana feels she looks like a giant marshmallow in the dress, but Hope assures her she looks beautiful. Hope then examines the dress and adjusts it so Adriana can dance in it. Adriana asks Hope if Eric seems okay to her. She tells Hope how she feels disconnected with Eric and Hope points out how things will get better once they have less stress. Eric and Adriana discuss the wedding arrangements and what their clients might like. Adriana points out how everything is happening too fast and Eric tells her he likes being out in the middle of the day like this. Eric then asks Adriana how she feels about him producing a play and working, and Adriana feels that cannot work full-time. Eric tells her that he feels happy watching Adriana doing great for the business, but he wants something more fulfilling. Eric then asks her to come to the pond with him, and Adriana is absolutely against the idea. Hope discusses the studio with her mom and how it seems like a big commitment. She asks her mom if she gave up too quickly and her mom tells her she can take care of herself as she always has. Hope is practicing steps for her choreography in the studio when Eric comes in and watches her. He compliments her and she tells him she feels excited choreographing again. Howard is sad Eric beat him at golf. In the bar, he points at a newly married couple and tells Eric how that will be him soon. Eric seems confused and asks his dad when he decided to work on Wall Street. Howard tells him he never really decided anything and everything was handed over to him by his father. He tells Eric how this company is their legacy and how they should be proud of taking it forward and doing their best. Sophia is mesmerized by the work Hope does and tells her that Hope needs to confirm if she wants to buy the studio, because the other buyers are putting a lot of pressure on her. Eric and Adriana visit their wedding venue and Eric informs Dinny that they want a band and not an orchestra. Since Adriana is busy, she suggests that Eric can choose the band himself. Hope is choreographing her set for Vanessa and Eric walks in for his class. She tells Eric she is not sure of the ending she wants for the set. He tells her to decide if in the world she is creating, she wants the lovers to end up together or not. He then asks if they can have their lesson as a different venue. They reach Eric's wedding venue where the band is waiting for him and Hope tells him his wedding will be beautiful. Eric asks Hope to dance with him and as the lights dim, she tells him just to be in the moment and not feel any pressure. Eric and Hope beautifully glide across the floor and share excellent chemistry, and he even manages the dip perfectly. They get too close towards the end but awkwardly pull back. Eric asks how it is so easy to dance with her and not Adriana. Hope assures him that it might just be because of all the pressure. Hope gets a call about her loan getting approved. Eric comes to get Adriana for their dance lesson and cake tasting. He tells her how he has made all the wedding decisions himself and he needs her to come with him. She apologizes but says there is no way she can leave her client meeting, so Eric has to do this himself. At the studio, Hope tells him how they are running out of time and need to have a full rehearsal with Adriana. Eric is in a bad mood too and asks Hope to reschedule the session. As he is going away, he gets an idea and asks Hope if she is hungry. Eric brings Hope to the cake tasting and Hope is excited to be eating so much cake for dinner. When Eric seems confused about which flavor he wants, Hope informs him how he can just get different layers. Eric comments on how far Hope must have reached in her wedding planning, and she tells him how the whole process was not easy. He asks her what made her break it off and Hope tells him how the deeper she got into the wedding planning, the more she realized it did not feel right. Eric and Hope get back to the studio and Eric suggests how in her set, the couple can get their happy ending. The dancers try it out and Hope agrees to go with that ending. She tells Eric how her loan has been approved and she needs to decide about the studio. Eric encourages her to take a chance and go for choreography. Hope meets Sophia, and just by looking at her expression, Sophia knows Hope is not buying the studio. Sophia tells her she will accept the offer from the buyers and tell them how they get an amazing teacher with their offer, so Hope can figure out her next step till she needs to. Hope is very grateful, and Sophia tells her she cannot wait to watch Hope soar. Hope bumps into Eric, who gives her a good luck card for her audition with Vanessa the next day. Eric asks if someone is going with her and offers to come with her for moral support. At the venue, Hope goes through her checklist and is very nervous, but Eric calms her down and tells her to relax. Hope's dancers then begin to perform, and as Hope watches them with concentration, and Vanessa seems entertained, Eric keeps checking both their expressions to see what they think. After the set, Vanessa tells her how beautiful that was and how she needs to see 2 more pieces that day, but she will get back to Hope with her decision that night. Hope and Eric are excited and decide to go for a walk on Brooklyn Bridge. Eric tells her how initially he was scared of the dance lessons, but being away from work so much has widened his perspective, and he feels very good about himself. When Hope asks what Adriana thinks of this new version of him, Eric tells her he feels that they are not on the same page. He explains how even though he should be excited about his wedding, he is not. Eric talks to Adriana about how Gavin is more suited for the company than he is because his heart is not in it anymore. Adriana tells Eric she just wants him to be happy. Eric says he wants to do the play, and Adriana points out how risky it is. Hope meets Cassidy and discusses how she has not heard back from Vanessa yet. She also tells her how Eric helped her out with her audition. Cassidy is about to tease her, but Hope reminds her how Eric is getting married. Cassidy then tells her how she has seen Hope move on for the first time after Peter, and it feels good. Eric meets his dad and asks to speak privately. He tells him how he doesn't think he is fit for the job. His dad tells him how a new responsibility can be intimidating and Eric should keep trying to get used to it. Eric still insists that this is not what he wants from his life and that he wants to pursue a more creative path. His dad insists on how they have made a commitment to their clients and how important it is for their legacy. As Hope is walking with Sophia, she gets a call from Vanessa confirming that she got the job. She is excited, and Sophia points out how she just has 3 days till Friday to leave for London, so she should pack. Hope is playing the piano when Eric walks in. Hope tells him she is leaving for London, and Eric is so excited she got the offer that he picks her up while hugging her. There is a moment of awkwardness after which Eric tells her how happy he is for her. When Hope says they are finally making their dreams come true,